Once again, and welcome to Mid-Missouri Art News. I'm Rick J., your host, and I have two very special guests today. This is June 7th already, 2017, and here in Missouri we're dealing with the heat and humidity. So it's a really good day outside, about 85 degrees, and we're enjoying not only inside here on Mid-Missouri Art News, but also outside. Today I want to welcome to Mid-Missouri Art News a couple ladies, painting with fiber artist Glenda Miller of Houstonia, that's from Tipton, Missouri.
Right.
And artist Linda Hoover, known for a building mural at this time in Sedalia, Missouri, from Houstonia. Both are members and participants and hold key positions in the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. And we're so happy to invite them and have them here as guests as the Jefferson City Art Club reaches out to all the communities trying to bring the art world together, just for the love of art, we like to say. I would like to pass on that Phil Schroeder, who is, and usually our basic focal point of the program with Jefferson City Art Club, our featured artist on the website at this time, Jefferson City Art Club website. You'll be featured May 22nd, actually through July the 2nd. And he has opted not to come on camera, and so we respect that. Phil opted out to be our guest, but you may view his pictures, photos, and artwork not only at the Jefferson City Art Club website, but also at the DMV on the east side, just off Ellis Boulevard, where you'll be showing through that period of time also. It's a good show to look at, so bring in the family, take a look, or when you're going in to get your license or what have you, just stop in and view Phil's artwork and let us know what you think. Well, it's time to introduce our first guest. On behalf of JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News, and me personally, I'd like to introduce Miss Glenda Miller of Tipton. She's the Secretary-Treasurer of the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. Glenda, can you tell us a little bit about those highlights of your life that describe best, or you'd like to share about Glenda Miller?
I'm a retired programmer analyst. I've been retired now for about 7 years. And when I was in high school, I wanted to be a commercial artist. But
Super.
I was the oldest of 6 children. My father was retired from the military, and we didn't have the money to go on to school.
I see.
And so my father saw this advertisement in a St. Louis newspaper about a drafting trainee at McDonnell Douglas.
Ah.
And I had taken drafting in high school. I was the first girl to take drafting in Kabul High School. And so I went in and I applied for this position as a drafting trainee, and I was accepted. And I worked there through the training program for about 9 months. And then I went, when I was finished, I was working in their loft department, helping to build airplanes.
I see.
But then they didn't get a government contract. I got laid off, so I went back to school and decided to go to Lynn Technical College and get my drafting degree, because I had been trying to get other positions as a draftsman, but I didn't have any experience, and so I was always being turned down. And I also got turned down because I was a woman.
I
But,
see.
Yeah.
Even though you was a trendsetter back in those times, you could say.
Right.
So you became a draft person, I guess,
Yes,
instead of a
I
draftsman.
became a draftsman, and I worked for probably 13 years as a draftsman, and then kind of switched into computers and ended up being a programmer.
Excellent. And would you like to share, say hi to the family, or what those?
Well, most of my family is away from here. They aren't local. I have brother in Pittsburgh, my sister and brother are in Springfield, Missouri, and so they're pretty far away. So.
Well, I can say for Glenda's draftsman work or draft person work, she designed her house, which I've been driving by for the last 9 years, but I had no clue that's where Glenda lived. So it's very well designed, and I was just always admired it, and I let her know that. So anyway, I can vouch for you as a draftsman in that sense. Very well, very nice house, just outside of Tipton, Missouri there. Well, so Glenda, if we haven't covered, is there anything else you'd like to add as far as how you were first inspired to become an artist? And what inspired you to continue with your interest in art? Here you are, secretary, treasurer of the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. That says a lot for your interest in hanging on to that, that interest, I guess.
Well, when I was about 8 years old, my sister was about 6. We loved getting the new Sears catalog, because when my mother got the new Sears catalog, we got the old Sears catalog.
I see.
And we would go back to the section that had the toddlers in, and we would pick out one of the pictures. Back then they were drawn.
Yes.
And we would cut them out, and this was our paper doll. And then we would go to the women's section, and we would place our little paper doll on the woman's dress so that the belt on the dress would match the waist on the toddler, so that we would make the paper doll clothes out of the women's clothes.
Oh, very interesting.
And then later on, when we got a little older, we started copying Betty and Veronica out of the comics and making them into paper dolls.
Yes.
And all through high school, I was taking art classes, and I always got good grades in art. But like I said before, my parents couldn't afford to send me to be a commercial artist.
Yes.
And but in later years, I turned to photography. I did quite a bit of photography. I took some night classes in photography at the community college in Sedalia. And so for a long time, that was my artistic outlet. And then when I retired, I delved more into took more classes at the State Fair.
So you extended your interests, I guess.
Right.
I bet Linda can identify with the Sears catalog. I mean, not to date either one of us, but...
Sure.
Okay. Well, now we always ask this question of our artists and artistic personnel that are honored as our guests. Can you share with us your favorite mediums and subject matter when we're working on an art project? You're known as fiber, or painting with fiber. And we both talked about a previous guest, Jackie Berry, who does similar work. So can you give us an idea of just basically how your fiber art comes together? And we've got some photos, I guess, too, along with.
Yeah, I brought some photos. What I do with the fiber is I'll pick a photograph that, and of course it's digital, and then I will put it into Photoshop, and I will put a polarizing filter on it, so that what that does is it separates the colors. It gives them a definite line.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
Right, and so that you can, it kind of like makes it a puzzle.
Ah.
And what you do is you'll take the area that is a certain color, you'll match a fabric to that area.
Oh,
And,
I see.
well, first you'll have to take the photograph and kind of draw it out with the delineations, like trace it. And then you can cut out the pieces of puzzle onto the fabric and put a fusing on the back of it.
I see.
And fuse it to your background fabric.
So that gives you your color contrast, your perspective
Right.
on basically on the program you spoke of before you even put it together as an art piece, fabric art. Well, that's very interesting how you do it. That sounds like a lot of fun, I say. Well, Glenda, do you have any projects now in process or at a venue where they may be viewed?
Currently, the art club has a show at the Goddard Gallery, and Linda and I both have pictures in that show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we invite people to get to the
Right.
Goddard.
And we have a reception June 22nd
Oh, that's coming up.
at 6 o'clock, and we invite the public to come and see and enjoy the refreshment.
Oh, super.
Can I add that it's a fascinating show. The theme is reflections, and the artists have taken it, and Tom Pichet, who's the director of the gallery there, says that we pulled it apart and took that theme in all directions.
I can imagine the reflections.
It's an exciting show.
Yeah.
Reflections of the past, of the future,
Yes.
the present, lighting, color, contrast, as I spoke of. That sounds
Exactly.
really exciting. And just putting a piece of artwork together, with a brush, I can imagine what it would be like with fiber. Well, you're a current member and the Secretary-Treasurer of the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. And may I ask if you can share with us the mission statement and those activities that would basically define the SVAA. And I'll probably ask Linda in the second segment the same question because she may have a little different perspective. So what's your take on the SVAA and what has it meant to you as part of your life?
I think we have a good organization that we all come together at the meetings and we do share our ideas and we learn from each other. We'll have workshops, work together, and you can get ideas from each other. And I've been, a member for about, well, not quite 10 years yet, but about 9, I think. And you develop a good friendship with a lot of the other ladies. I mean, Linda and I, we shared, I helped her with a mural last summer, and really had a great time doing it. We both enjoyed doing that.
Super. Well, Glenda, I want to thank you personally for sharing your art interests and SVAA information here and being my guest here on Mid-Missouri Art News, JCTV. We look forward to seeing you in the community in the future. After the break, we meet building mural artist and SVAA president, Linda Hoover from Houstonia, Missouri. Find out how Linda Hoover has risen to new heights, you might say, in the art world when we return in about 60 seconds. Be right back.
Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
Welcome back to Mid-Missouri Art News. I'm your host, Rick J. And now we turn to another special guest, part of the SVAA, the Sedalia Visual Arts Association, and both ladies with me today stand firm on their artwork known in the communities around the Jefferson City area. And this lady is Miss Glenda Hoover of Houstonia, Missouri, and here to share a bit of her life as an artist and mural painter. Welcome to JCTV, officially Mid-Missouri Art News, Glenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, later we'll get more into the magnificent building mural that I've caught an eye to. Now it catches many eyes of the viewers of Sedalia, Missouri, and those traveling through, with media recognition actually given to you, good write-ups, I see. But first, if you can, tell us a little bit about Glenda and those highlights of your life that everyone could identify with that best describe Glenda Hoover.
Okay. Well, thinking about this question ahead of time, I thought I would start by saying that my mother was an artist, and she was a wonderful watercolor artist, very involved in her community out on the West Coast, and she recognized my talent and always encouraged me. Would get me art supplies and get me lessons.
Awesome.
And it was sometimes she'd even give me lessons, so that was so fun.
Yes.
And in school, I was always the class artist. I remember in 5th grade that we had a class newsletter, and I got to be the art editor, which was so exciting and fun. But I didn't get serious about art till I had children at home and wanted to have a business at home.
I see.
And began to get into sign painting. So I was using my art then for that.
Excellent, excellent. And would you like to say hi to those grandchildren and children?
Yes, I would. I'll go through my children. Carol is in Washington State, and her husband John, and my granddaughter Beth, who is, I think, 29 or 30 years old. I need to. And then there's Lois Parkinson in San Francisco, a psychiatrist there. She's been there for some years. And my grandson, Truett. And then Jim, who's in Arkansas with his wife Renee, grandchildren Hannah and Adam. And then here, close by, I have Ruthie, who is a nurse at Bothwell Hospital, and her husband Ryan, and 2 darling grandchildren, Jacob and Emmett. And we get to, since they're close, we get to watch them every week. And they're a 6-year-old and 4-year-old. And then our baby, Liberty, who's in Warrensburg, where her husband is a policeman. Paul, really great guy. And we have more grandchildren there. We've got Caleb, who's 8, and Joshy's 6, and then we've got finally a little granddaughter, who's 1-year-old, little Emma.
That's quite a family.
Yes, yes.
Oh, may I say hi to the family from Mid-Missouri Art News here in Jefferson City.
Yes. Oh, let me say hi to my husband, Dave.
Oh, yes, you don't forget Dave. He might have been part of that.
We celebrate 35 years next month.
Excellent,
yes.
excellent. Well, now let's get into some nitty-gritty, as they used to call it. Can you share with us when and how you, well, I guess you was first inspired by your mother. Maybe we've covered that, but is there anything else you'd like to add that inspired you to become an artist?
After naming all those children,
yes,
that I wanted to have a business at home. And then that just developed my interest in art more, and I had this desire to just go back to school and take a lot of art classes. But I knew my husband wasn't going to go for that, just when there wasn't a practical reason behind it. But I'd been substitute teaching. That was good for me. The children, many were in school. And the superintendent asked me if I'd like to have the art job, take that position. But I wasn't certified yet. But then that gave me the idea of going back to college, get certified as an art teacher. And my husband was all for that. He was very supportive. As long as there was a practical reason behind
I
it.
see.
And got my degree and at UCM and taught art at the local school, which is Houstonia there for till I retired 4 years ago. Wonderful time teaching art. And then during that time went and got my master's at MU. So I got to do my heart's desire of taking a lot of art classes and developing my own art.
Awesome educational background and experience. Well, now let me pull this big building mural up and let's talk about it a little bit. Its theme, the theme and how you were inspired to paint it. The address for viewing also we'd like to.
Well, this most recent one, Sedalia Stars, the local high schools have a project each year they call the Leadership Project. And 2016, their project was to develop a mural society and then hire an artist and start out with their first mural. And asked for artists to submit ideas. They came to our club and told us about it. And so I submitted an idea. They had a general outline of having it be historical and then bring it up to date and into the future. But we found out, kind of researching, that Sedalia had been the home to an unusual amount of people who had gone on to get national recognition. So we decided to bring that into our mural, and I drew them a picture and had the idea of putting stars in it and putting the faces of just 3 of the pretty well-known people. But there were a lot more. We put more about it on it's on the mural. I think they came up with like 16 or 19 people who had actually gone to Sedalia School, graduated from the high school. Well, these 3 graduated from the high school and become national stars.
Well, there's so much art talent that I'm finding within all the communities going east-west. It's just so surprising. That's why I'm trying to bring it out now and interview different ones, and they're lining up now to be interviewed, so I'm really happy about that. Just hope we can cover as many as possible. Well, now you've got some pictures of your murals that'll be coming up as we speak, so is there any one that your favorite possibly?
Oh gosh. Well, I did one on the Fine Art Building at the State Fair. Yes. And we got permission actually from the Chicago Art Institute that owns American Gothic. That's the picture that I used for this, and then did a joke really using that couple. I think it's a really well-known painting, but of the farmer with the pitchfork, and we think he's his wife. And kind of funny, they look like they're being real solemn in the picture. But that was just their heads against this church or house in the background.
I see.
But we changed it because we wanted to use that to advertise the fine art department at the state fair. And had a lot of fun with that. I think that was just huge. They put a big scaffolding up for me to do that and put a faux wall behind it that I had to come and paint the lines to look like siding on it. And I think I have 2 of my little grandsons in front of that in the picture, so you can see the size of it. And I loved that. That was so much fun because I got to visit with people all through the fair. I did it as an artist residency at the fair.
Super.
Projected it up before the fair started and then painted it during the fair. Well, then I thought that would probably be the biggest thing I ever did.
You even had some controversy over that.
There was a controversy that hit the papers because the joke was to have that lady spray painting on the side of the building, and the spray paint would say, "Go upstairs," you know.
Oh, I see.
She would be doing graffiti. But there were people that were very upset about it being graffiti, so I had to change it to not look like real graffiti. But it was great. Actually, it turned out great. It started a whole discussion with the paper, and at the end of the year it was like the 3rd most popular article about the arts or something.
Super. Sometimes our artwork and our performances attract more attention than we ever dreamed of. And I see neither one of you are afraid of heights up on that scaffolding. I've seen pictures.
Well,
Probably
I thought that would be the biggest one, but actually the one that Glenda and I did together was the biggest one now. It's 22 and a half feet by 17 feet. And we had a scissors lift to drive around all the time and work on that.
If the viewers can just imagine getting on a scaffold so many feet in the air and actually being able to paint at the same time. Now, I jumped out of airplanes a few times in the military, so I love heights. I'd love to jump again, but I still don't like the heights so much. But I guess as long as I can float in the air, it's fine. I'm not sure about how to explain that one. But, well, let's turn now. I'll turn to both of you and whatever you would like to add and tell us a little bit about the Sedalia Visual Arts Association. I know it's open to different memberships if ones are interested, so you can tell us the mission statement, how to become a member, whatever you can to get us interested.
Okay, I'll read this. It's not very long. The Sedalia Visual Art Association is an organization of area artists, both professional and amateur, who are dedicated to providing a forum for their artistic expression with the opportunity to learn from each other. And it's a great group. I was trying to think how many years I've been involved in. I couldn't remember. But I gave a presentation in Warrensburg about a week ago on portraiture. And one of the girls brought a portrait I'd done of her, a caricature, and it was 20 years old. So I know it was from a Sedalia Visual Artist project we'd done.
We just keep dating ourselves, don't we? That shows longevity, and we must be doing something right if we're staying around this long, right, Glenda?
I think it goes back to about 1972 or something in that area.
That sounds right.
Some of the, since I have most of the records, that's about how far back the organization goes. And now we have a website also. It's Sedalia Visual Art Association, all of that in one word, .org. And it has a lot of the members and their artwork on there. And there is even a, what do you call it? The little icon or something you can click on, and it sends me an email if you're interested in becoming a member. Right. And I can contact you or the person and give them information about becoming a member.
Also, you have a great looking newsletter that comes out, and once you get on the list, it's very interesting. I found out so much about the SVAA, so that's a big part of it.
Yes.
Also,
and I also send out complimentary newsletters. If somebody just wants to read our newsletter, I will send them. Usually, most of them go via email, and there's a few people who get snail mail.
Would you like to give a telephone number or an email address where someone could contact you for that?
The email address is millerscaveart@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Anything else to add?
Yes, I was going to say that we have a lot of opportunities to show our art through Sedalia Visual Artists. We've been showing at our municipal building, which is a lovely new building, a wonderful space for showing art, and every 2 months we have 2 new artists that put a display up. I just put a new one, or helped put a new one up last week. So there's that, and it's a great opportunity to just get out there in the public and show your art. We have this show every year at the Dom, at the Goddard Gallery out at State Fair College, which is another wonderful place to show art. In fact, for years that was our dream to get to show out there.
I could imagine.
It's part of the Dom Contemporary Art, how does that go? Contemporary Art Museum.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful museum.
It's a great organization, association, and I think anyone that's just getting on the website can see that, and if they want to be a part of it in any capacity, it would be, I'm sure you'd be open to any interest. I want to thank you both, Linda and Glenda, for being my guests today on Mid-Missouri Art News here on JCTV. Make it a learning, informational experience for me and our viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to now cover our next featured guest here on Mid-Missouri Art News are well-known artists Renee Hackman of the Jefferson City Art Club and Tracy Eichhorn of Mid-Missouri Arts Alliance in Ashland, Missouri. That taping is scheduled for July 5th and be up on the YouTube and on air a few days afterwards. On that same day, we have a second show that'll be taped. We'll be taping actually a 30-minute program called Spotlight on the Arts, which is an extension of Mid-Missouri Art News, featuring artist Hannah Engmeyer and also Orr Street Studios director out of Columbia, Missouri, Ivy Case. And if you've been around Columbia, Missouri, you've heard both of those names. So I look forward to spending time with them here at JCTV. On behalf of JCTV and myself, Rick J., I want to thank Gloria Enlow, our producer, and thank you, our viewers, for watching once again. Look for more Mid-Missouri Art News right here on JCTV, and don't forget YouTube. I'm Rick J. saying thank you. I'll see you next time.